Welcome back to all the speakers, panelists, and the attendees. We are about to begin the last session for the day one of the summit, uh, which is on data center operations, titled Business Continuity and Interconnectivity. We have with us Mr. Srijit G, Vice President Data Center Operations, STT GDC India, who would be moderating this panel. We'd be having esteemed panelists, Mr. Ranganath LPL, Senior Vice President, Next Gen Data Center and Cloud Technologies, Mr. Girish Dhawale, Chief Technology Officer, Data Center Services, CFI Technology, Mr. Jamsheed Spadwala, Associate Vice President, Product Management, Tata Communications, Mr. Kundan Godke, General Manager, Sales and Marketing, GPX India, Mr. Gaurav Singh, Head Product and Solutions, Nextra Data by Airtel, Mr. Sanjay Jadhav, Vice President, Product Business, Tools, CHSPL, India. I now request Mr. Srijit to take over, please.
Hey, thank you. Good evening to everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, if anybody is attending from abroad. So thanks, CII, putting this subject, business continuity and interconnectivity. So topic for today, the topic, rather than a scenario which we are all undergoing for the last 1.5 years. I have been attending, this session from the first. I could hear the prominent speakers coming and talking the importance of data centers and the role the data center is going to play for the coming future, and the kind of investment plans and the support from the government and local MIDC kind of associations. So great to hear from all of them, and excited to be moderating this panelist. And I am sure my job is going to be very easy. The kind of experienced and eminent speakers in this forum. And thanks once again, and welcome all of you to this event. So the business continuity as a subject. What is the relevance of this business continuity before this ongoing COVID pandemic and after COVID pandemic? Okay, so we need to emphasize the importance of business continuity in the transformed digitized era, and focusing more on infrastructure resilience, reliability, and how interconnectivity kind of contributing to the whole ecosystem. So this is a kind of topic which we are going to discuss, and we'll be touching upon the cyber aspects of it, the security aspect of it, because if you see the entire world, the business is going to be digitized, and the digital infrastructure is going to be contributing many of the business platforms. The cyber security is one of the serious issue we need to address. And the third one, we're talking about what is beyond business continuity is beyond. So let's say earlier I've been working in this industry for the last 20-25 years, and we have been complying most of the compliance criteria like policies, ISO 27001s and ISO 20000, various certification standards. And business continuity management itself was a subject, and to meet the audit compliance we used to have process procedures in place. But those process procedures are not going to be anymore for getting the certifications. This is actually going to be containing with the situations which you're already experiencing it. So with that, let's start. So I would like to invite the perspective, or just wanted to understand a quick 2 to 3 minutes from each of the eminent panelists, how you have been dealing with this ongoing pandemic for the last 1.5 years, and any adopted changes, any changes in the current operating procedures. I would like to understand, to share your thought on a quick note. Maybe to start with Girish in this aspect.
Yeah, thanks, Srijit, and welcome everyone, and good evening to everyone. Srijit, am I audible?
Yes, you are very much audible, Girish.
Okay, excellent. Thanks. So a couple of points as touched by Srijit is on BCP, that is Business Continuity Plan, that is ISO 22301, which we talked about. Frankly speaking, this pandemic, or the COVID pandemic, has given us a lot of insights on the BCP, because this people management, process management, and the actual implementation of the BCP and the disaster management has been, everybody has seen in the data center environment. But I want to speak on the what is beyond BCP, because when we start a data center journey in India, so proudly I can say SIFI is the first commercial data center 21 years ago. And now if we see, there are multiple data centers across Pan India, and it is growing at a very fast pace. But when all the international players and the international customers are coming on board with the data center, then they are looking for something beyond your BCP, something beyond your process and the people management. And that is where we are touching on to the predictive management of the data center by using the right kind of automation. So when I'm touching on the automation, that is mainly towards the infrastructure, the customer assets, as well as looking into the different risk assessment, which talks about the end of life, which talks about your capacity bottleneck, which talks about the reliability and redundancy. Now, when we are going from a standalone data center to the campus data centers, that time, just by depending on the process and the people, we may not able to serve the expectation of the customers as well as the expectations which is we are going to set as a benchmark for the data center industry. And that is only possible by having a automation, a right level of automation in place. And what that automation is going to help us, it will be giving us the predictive maintenance by tracking all the equipments right from the electrical lineups as well as cooling systems and also the customer assets, and triggering any abnormality which is triggered by the system or which is analyzed by the softwares, and asking you to do the right kind of a maintenance before it hits to your incidents. And that is very important. And we started the journey in automations and we are implementing that, and it found to be very useful. I can give only a couple of examples. One is like a transformers to the UPS to the cooling systems. Now most of the OEMs are coming with a predictive maintenance softwares which track the characteristic and the performance of the equipments, and if it is not following in line with the performance as decided or as structured by the OEM, and if there is any deviation, so before that deviation hit to the incident, it can be captured in the right moment and it will be visible to the facility engineer who is going to take the decision to do the predictive maintenance on that and avoiding any permanent or predictive shutdown of the system. This is definitely going to be a business continuity plan or beyond business continuity plan. So here, I think we earlier talked about the people, we talked about the process now, and we are now talking about beyond the process, that is the automation. The automated systems will help us in achieving the best BCP, what we are looking for and what market is looking for.
Thank you, Girish. I think it's a well thought. It's a learning for the industry that way. Automation and predictive, and maybe the AI enabled capabilities. Having achieved AI is a little high expectation at this point of time, but still we will watch for that full AI and AI enabled services around that. So thanks.
That is true. Yeah, but Srijit, only being you touched upon the AI, I like to just give you some insights on we are using, when we talk about the automation, we are using the IoT platforms to achieve that. So not the full AI, but definitely it is a partial AI, which is also a part of this automation.
Yeah, correct. So the way I touched upon the full-fledged AI means today the systems are integrated, but the system decides what exactly they want to do. The today's system, they don't have the capability of understanding and fine-tune the process procedures according to the data coming from the field. Yes, it is there. You're right. It is on the partial aspect, but we are looking at a much more matured kind of AI systems, which is still under development, and we expect some kind of AI systems to come in soon. So I'm sure it is going to come in. So this AI is a topic for a long time. I'm sure a lot of companies are working on it. Thanks, Girish, for that. So let me move to Ranganath. I just wanted to understand how you're a service provider friend, how have you been dealing with this current BCP for the last 1.5 years? How have been motivating these people? How do you perform this cross-functional department in transitions, just like that? To some insight from you, Ranganath, on the next in perspectives.
Thank you. Good evening. Yeah. The first thing is thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak here. I'm not a good speaker, but I can give you a lot of information to my knowledge. Yeah, fine. First of all, cyber security is very, very important because cyber crimes are increasing day by day, and we have to implement a lot of policies for that one, right from hardware level till software level. So we have done from the beginning, we have achieved that one, and because of that, our company has been recognized the key industry leaders for protection of data for service market. So this is done by researchandmarket.com in May 2021. So we have been recognized for that. So definitely it is a feather on our head. Then second thing is we have created a lot of process and procedures how to protect the asset as well as the data. And apart from that, what we also advise customer is to go for real-time backup of data, so that in case if any system or server is hacked, so their data will be protected. The system or server can be transferred to some other server, and data can be backed up easily, so that data loss will be very, very minimum. So also we suggest them to go for DR and DC primary site kind of thing, so that in case one way it is attacked, other way we can able to take the data backup and continue the operations. So this is with respect to data management. And yes, this pandemic has taught us a lot. Really, it was a painful event because we made our people to stay in data center as long as the pandemic situation is not controllable. So, but during this time, we understood that not only the manual intervention, automation is also very, very important. So our CEO, Mr. Rajagopal's vision is to adopt AI in all aspects of our operations. So it will be AI is a major game changer in our data center operation. So what our vision is, our CEO vision is to make the data center operation as human-free operation. Yes, we are trying, and of course we already started doing certain implementation. We have our own AI platform on which we are developing software. Yeah, this is what we are doing it, and of course we are trained our people to do the maintenance activities, taking care of the critical equipments, preventive maintenance in advance. So we are also getting a lot of feedback from the machines to our system. Moreover, that we are having multiple data centers across city. We brought a connectivity of all data centers to MS system to one place, and we are working out to remotely handle all the data centers. So these are also improvements what we are trying to do, and definitely we are going to achieve this.
A good point, Ranganath. I think you touched upon the importance of the data management, the data availability to customers, and the security aspect of it, and how do you make multiple data centers connected together, which comes the importance of interconnectivity, which we are talking about. So, and the people staying in office, again, there is no right and wrong ways in this pandemic. So the way I think all of us might have adopted some more similar methodologies where people staying in offices and nearby service apartments. These are the ways we have managed the BCP. Yes, one thing to comment or add upon Ranganath's the cloud aspects and security. So just to share STT's experience, let's say 2 years back, STT has adopted a cloud-centric philosophy to all our services and business platforms. So again, this was pre-pandemic, and through the pandemic, the day it started, it enabled us a seamless work from home kind of culture with a secured scenario to enable people to work. And I would say it's more effectively, a kind of backend processes like order booking, FP&A processes and procedures. So that cloud-centric philosophy has given us a good edge on this, dealing with this pandemic. That's a good thing. So now let me move to Sanjay. So again, if you look at the vendor ecosystem is very important. So we cannot do it alone to contain with any of the scenarios, whether it is BCP or a cyclone scenario or a heavy rain scenario. So these things, the ecosystem is the customers, service providers, and the vendors around it. So Sanjay, what is your perspective? How are you managing this pandemic, and what is your plans to deal with this kind of scenarios in future?
Srijit, hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Perfect. So coming back to your first question of business continuity, I'll cover first. The first is that, yes, pandemic has taught us a lot. Substantiating what Girish has said, we learned a lot. We learned a lot how to make system live without mechanic being present at site. And it has a two-way traffic, means it is a traffic which is the person available at site and an expert person are connecting with each other by telephonic call or a video call and guiding him how to get systems on with minimum efforts and transferring that knowledge. That was the best learning we had during business continuity. Any problem goes down, don't get panic, just get a call, right people on the call. In this pandemic, we have created our technical support cell who should be expert not only in power, he should be expert in electronics, he should be a mechanical, and that kind of person, he should be able to be a master a support provider to the guy who is actual facing problem at the site. And that has made business continuity live. Just to tell you, during this pandemic time, we have done testing of equipments worth of 1 megawatt by doing video conferencing call, and the systems got approved and it got exported to the places like Singapore and other locations. But that has taught us, we never thought we will be able to test machine of 500 and 600 kilowatt without persons present. But that has happened during this pandemic and it is successfully done by, so that's called business continuity. Business never stopped. Equipment got manufactured, equipment got delivered, equipment got commissioned also. So what again I am saying, what Girish said, automation. Automation has become a part of our business continuity. What he said, another thing is we have to deploy. I am talking about data center operations. When it comes to service, the guy is under panic. He calls up, he doesn't want system to go down. So that time we always said, we again evaluated what are the, see if you have two things, material and manpower available at site, problem gets solved. So we ensured during pandemic, whatever critical space, again we evaluated every site and said, let's have critical space available at site. That has helped. My sincere request on behalf of CII that we had faced a lot of problem during pandemic for travel. For if suppose critical problem comes, person has to travel. Yes, we got letters from all of you, but now the time has come, our industry, data center industry, to get a certified as a healthcare sector, and it should fall under emergency. So that is the change we want from government business continuity plan. So that's one more change we are expecting. We should be given, all people were working at home, but all of my colleagues, we were on calls, we were at sometimes at site, and we were traveling with either red sticker or yellow sticker, but we were moving in the field. That is one change which we bought. Another I'm saying is reorganization. Yes, every business has done reorganization to maintain the business continuity. So we have changed reorganization of manpower depending on site locations. So some experts has to be available close to that site. So again, if need comes, we will take a hotel and make person camp there. So that is called business continuity, which we thought. Another important things we learned during this is that each data center has got a, because of lot of offices got closed down. So power factor situation has changed in various locations. Okay, be it small enterprise data center or be it big data center. So that one learning has happened for business continuity. you should take care of your voltage fluctuations during that time. And that has taught us a lot. And the chiller is the one part who works without UPS. And sometimes I'm talking of precision air handling unit. So please take care of good voltage availability during this pandemic. That has become a learning for us. Another thing is that, which Girish said, predictive analysis. Predictive analysis means if you do on-time preventive maintenance, you should be able to judge what is going wrong in your equipment when you do on-time maintenance and data availability and analyzing data. If my machine is drawing 5 kilowatt, why all of a sudden things got changed? It started drawing 5.2 kilowatt. Is there any abnormalities in electrical circuit? Is there abnormalities in my equipment? That's called predictive analysis. So that has got changed during this pandemic, and now it has become a business continuity habit for us. Another situation is, I found along with equipment manufacturers and data center operators have started at a lower level 3 plans, like plan A, plan B, plan C. Suppose if plan A, everything is available. Plan B, nothing is available. Plan C, what is emergency to be done? So that even I started seeing this change has happened during this pandemic, and people started looking at, if I am not available at site, how I can make uptime without my presence, which thought was not given earlier. The thought process was only call a person, he has to come, he has to attend the call. So that has brought a good change in this after pandemic. This change has come. Today each one is saying resurgent, resilient data centers. I am saying yes. With this, we are moving towards resurgent, resilient data centers, and which you said vendor ecosystem. Yes, we got adaptable to this situation. We all have got adaptable to this situation. So with this critical situation arising during data center operations, analysis of previous situation and learning of the same to be recorded and SOP to be modified. Now SOP is getting modified in data center operations. That's the way I'm talking in terms of infrastructure point of view. Yes, every manufacturer have operated their changed their SOPs and adaptable themselves to the pandemic situation, and we are ready. If even third wave comes also, we know how to ensure that our data centers are up and running. With this, I'll conclude my Srijit remark.
Thanks, Sanjay. It's detailed, and I think you touched upon all the aspects and the right demand to CI to take care of the industry ecosystem. Yes, these providers like us were categorized as ESMA, but the vendor ecosystem was not. So it was a little hiccups in the early days, how travel to be enabled. So those things was a real challenge. So we had struggled a lot to ensure the right people, the right spares, etc. to the site. So that's a correct point. And yes, the learning for us to take care of the voltage fluctuations and the power factor points. It's insights, Sanjay. Thanks for that. So with that, I think we have spoke the experience. Now, when we talk about this experience of transforming into a business scenario, so can we model some business aspects to it? So Jamshed is there, Jamshed and Gaurav with us. Maybe let me come to Jamshed first and Gaurav second. So how is your experience, and what is your thought process, and how are you going to let's say productize, or do you have any plan to have some of the experience into transforming to products and things like that? Jamshed?
Yeah, thanks, Srijit, and hello to everyone on this panel, and hello to everybody. So yes, in fact, this pandemic has really taught us in terms of what BCP is and what as you know, many of the people earlier have said, in terms of what has been our perception of BCP. BCP is not about just business continuity of existing business processes, but actually this, pandemic has rather pushed enterprises and society at large to literally change the way we work, study, consume content, everything, right? And therefore, the pandemic has led the shift from business continuity to business transformation, resulting in change in business models for enterprises, for service providers, likewise. So typically what has been seen is, now if you look at how the impact of a pandemic causes to the entire BCP process, right? If you were to divide it into three phases, the first phase is where we are reacting to the situation or the abnormality that has come into place, where you would see that there are increased workloads that are taking place. How do we manage outages both at the infrastructure level, the network level, the application level? There's a change in pattern that is seen, right? The second phase is that after reacting is with respect to how do you actually go about mitigating it. What is the new interim or the new normal that we so commonly used to now. And as part of those new normal is where the SOPs start getting redesigned. As Sanjay ji mentioned earlier, right? There were a lot of relearning that were carried out. The SOPs were modified, and that is the stage at where we are actually now trying to move towards the new normal. And then third is with respect to the adaptation or adopting to a completely different way of life. And that's where concepts like remote working comes into play, remote management comes into play. There has been a lot of references that Girishji also spoke about, which was more with respect to automation, right? And the intent of automation is then that how through remote management, we can ensure that we are still able to offer the kind of SLAs, the kind of KPIs that we would want to offer to our customers. And that's, one of the, three-phase approach, one would say, where from a BCP scenario, you are moving to a business transformation scenario. And that's where if you go to see, typically enterprises have been impacted where increasingly the workforce has now become very dispersed at various and distributed across different locations, and thus the push towards more cloud native architectures for both service providers as well as enterprises. And that's where now enterprises are actually evaluating the connectivity as a service model. And when we say as connectivity as a service model, it talks about reliance on cloud connectivity, where remote workers could connect to corporate resources through video collaboration, through unified communication platforms in a very secured manner. And that's where the complete business models have shifted, where focus has come into security offerings, connectivity going up to the edge. Edge has been mentioned often, but now we would see, and there is a study which says that in 2020, about only 20% of connectivity budgets were towards connectivity as a service, which would go to 60% by 2024. And that's where we will see that the distributed computing will push more and more investments taking place into the edge network. And that's where you will see the proliferation of data centers moving from the core, from the hyperscalers to the edge as well.
Okay, thanks, Gaurav. Do you want to add to that?
Yes, I think good evening, everyone. I think happy to be part of this esteemed forum. And one thing I would like to share to everyone, I think we all during the last 18 months have been showing gratitude towards the medical fraternity. But I think a big bow from my side to the entire DC community. And the reason for the same is because I think a lot of us who are from the industry definitely realize the kind of critical medical infrastructure, medical enabled infrastructure, or the kind of workloads which the medical fraternity uses are based out of data center. And thanks to all of us, and maybe people behind the curtain who have kept the light on. So I think this is a big boost for India as a country, because the kind of situation I think we all went through and the expectation of the world, I think wonders done by everyone, a lot of learnings as far as the pandemic goes, operations, business, and maybe others. Uh, my perspective about business continuity and interconnectivity is, see, as far as a long-term sustainability is concerned, inclusivity is the most important aspect, whether it is your physical aspect, whether it is your business or your community or anything. And interconnectivity is something which I would say that increase the sphere of influence or the community which is helping various business verticals. So if I have to translate it to business continuity of operations, Girish said that centralized command and controls infrastructure, cloud-based backend plane to manage the operations. These are something which might be at a different location and might be having certain technical requirements in terms of latency binding. So interconnect or telecom, as I said, that I think that is very, very important, not only for your own business, but the entire community. So if I have to take another example, we all get berserk if the OTP doesn't come when we are doing the, let's say, BFSI transaction or banking transaction, right? So that's the kind of continuity, that's the kind of beauty the interconnectivity brings to the entire BCP practice, so that I think the kind of expectations, the kind of real-time scenarios, I think I have heard a lot of people talking about the time has come to share with your customers and people who are at the forefront to get the real-time data. So that is the most important aspect, and it has really changed the way the telecom was integrating the data center business or BCP and future. Software defined network, your interconnects. Let's say, for example, if I have to give a scenario, there is an event at sporting events and javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra got a gold medal, and all of a sudden your OTT platform starts increasing, right? It's not about, I should say, a natural disaster, but it's the business requirement. So unless and until you have an interconnect and the operations which can scale with these kind of requirements, I think it is very difficult to address the needs of BCP. So in totality, what I'm saying is interconnectivity has its very big role to play. Definitely in last 15-16 years, a larger ecosystem has to be bind and a flawless performance is to be given. So yes, interconnect is very, very important and will play a very, very big role in the overall BCP operations.
So is there any product which you are any unique product is in your mind which you can share at this point of time, or not only one product or many products? So what is the way forward for this to productize this kind of some of the thought processes?
Good question. So Sri, I think we all are known about cross connect. So interconnect is nothing but a next layer of cross connect where I think the provisioning, the capacity planning, the prioritization, the exchange of traffic can happen at the click of the button. So just to share a practical example, a hybrid environment where your co-location structure on the fly hook onto the cloud workloads, maybe sitting outside India or in a different geo, which is called as a cloud connect, maybe express connect and direct connect by a lot of cloud players. It could be a campus connect. So let's take an example where we were talking about the scarcity of space and power in data center, maybe whatever space and power you buy, but there will be a time when your data center will be on threshold. So if you want to build a second data center in a different city and hook on to these two with a certain deterministic latency, so that any customer who is in the old data center can expand in new with a contiguous performance, I think that is a kind of a campus connect or a city connect you can give. So these are the kind of things which you can implement in your current workloads. You can implement and execute in your current ICT environment to make digital way forward, digital solutions enable, and to make community and real-time scenarios more possible, more practical.
Thanks, Garo. So while we are talking about this interconnectivity, let me request Kundan to share his thought on the interconnectivity and how this edge data centers are going to contribute in the BCP scenarios.
Yeah, so thank you, Srijit. Thank you, CI, for giving this opportunity. Pleasure being over here as a panelist within this eminent panelist. So BCP measures, actually, I would like to take it for customers' perspective itself, because what all we need to understand and do is that the customer operations do not get hampered. So it's not about how DC operator is meeting its all commitments on power or cooling, but it is as much important is to ensure the connectivity is a more resilient. So just to give in a perspective, because in BCP, we being the edge data center take the center stage. GPX as an edge data center where cloud content and the internet ecosystem which is keeping the digital India alive in spite of this lockdown restrictions. And as a part of our DC design and the business continuity plan, we have ensured that the redundancies are built at each level. So to do the interconnections, this is the most important and critical requirement for all of our customers. We have facilitated most of our carriers who are present in our data center to come inside the data center with minimum of 3 diverse paths to provide the high resiliency and redundancy to the enterprise customers or the customer at large. As we also have the multiple data centers within the same city. In Mumbai, we have 2 data centers. So as far as interconnecting both of these data centers is concerned, we have laid our own fiber. What Gaurav was mentioning, we actually have done this interconnectivity almost 2 years back, and helping customers to get connected and expand with this second data center as well. So what we have done, we have deployed 432 core ribbon fiber, which is a first of its kind deployment in India. In addition to that, we have also built 2 physically diverse data center interconnect networks with each of them with a 3-path protection to provide dedicated, fully redundant point-to-point campus connections offering 1G, 10G, and 100G connectivity. So how it helps, it's rather than customer connecting via a network outside the data center, these secure connections help customer to critical disaster recovery, load balancing, backup, and the replications of the workloads at a very lower TCO and improved performance. So this helps customer not only to get interconnect with some of the cloud ecosystem and the ecosystem which we have, so and the CDN, OTTs and all those guys. So this helps over there for customers to do multitasking. It's to ensure that the business is growing its successful rate, and also they can use this as per their BCP things as well. As far as the we being the data center, what things which we have tried to keep at our data center, or how we have done it in the pandemic situation. We actually had a very well laid out BCP plan in place, which is if the site is not available or people not available. So it was little easier for us to do some of these things because this was quietly laid out in the beginning. As Girish has mentioned that the data center has to get into the automation, they have to offer automation. We proudly say that in last almost 8 years or so, we are there into business. We are highly automated data center. So if tomorrow there is no one in the data center, obviously there are certain key people is required, but everything is a PLC based. So if my DGs has to test it every fortnight or once in a month and the yearly, it is just that, or the UPSs has to be tested. It is everything is a PLC based. A person need not have to go and check for the whether and do the activity altogether over there and do that. He just has to see the monitor and match his clock over there, whether the things are happening in the right time or not, all that thing. As far as the fuel is concerned, the refueling the day tanks, which is next to the DGs, it's also entirely automated. So we have the very sophisticated fuel filtration and policing system, which obviously helps us to avoid any degradation of fuel. So these kind of stuffs which are already there, yes, AI based of kind of things which will come in by some provided by some of the AIs, and definitely they are working on it. So that kind of a thing would definitely add to the thing. We have managed our people very well in that particular sense. Well, we have put everyone as far as our DC operations and the facilities, and also the housekeeping and the security staff as well, the business building security and inside security staff into the JW Marriott's or the Renaissance kind of hotels. We have provided them with the dedicated vehicles to shunt between the hotels and the DCs. All these things were being very well planned out and thought of. So we did not, yes, there were challenges obviously, as Sanjay was mentioning, that it's traveling from one end to other end for the OEMs and some other people. But in that as well, as we were since beginning, we were been training our engineers. So electrical, it's a cross training, which I will say cross training on the electrical to mechanical and mechanical to electrical and so on and so forth. So this helped us. So we never in the situation wherein the things were got stuck because of the electrical guys not been there or the mechanical guys not been there. So we were been able to manage this, and obviously the interconnectivity between both these locations, providing and helping the customers in the BCP kind of a scenarios.
Very interesting, Kundan. Thanks. So, what is the strategy now? Are you continuing the BCP, or is it revoked, or waiting for another scenario to come in? So, how is the strategy?
So obviously it's not been rolled back. It's still there. Okay, we are continuing with this stuff which is already been there. So some of the stuff which is obviously it's a little bit opened. So some of these things are rolled back. But yeah, till today we are continuing with the hotel stays and providing the chauffeur-driven vehicles to the employees to go from these locations. Yes, if now obviously people cannot stay back there in hotels for a long, they have their families and all that thing. So we are now shunting them from their homes to offices or the data center. We don't want them to go through the public transports or come on their own. Yeah, somebody who has their own cars and four-wheelers, yes, they are able to come on their own vehicles. But yeah, we are not allowing anyone as of now to come through any public transport.
Okay, good. So good experience. I think some of us are already following these processes, procedures, and if you ask me, in STT, we are kind of continuing this full-fledged BCP, and the kind of news is around the speculation around third wave. I was reading a newspaper cut last week that Maharashtra is going to score over 1.3 lakhs again, especially in Mumbai, I think. So the kind of scary news, I'm not sure how it is going to happen. Yes, it is important for us to take care of all this, medical parameters. So just an interesting thought. Let's say we talked about how do we take care of BCPs and things beyond. Girish touched about automations and predictive analysis and things like that. I'm just trying to curious about how do we take it forward. So how are the the kind of frameworks or policies we are trying to build? So my experience, the companies, like, we are trying to build some business continuity management system framework, some modified policies, procedures. That matter, many of us are initiated to take the certifications like ISO 22301 on the BCMS. So, Girish, how do you think when you supplement your thought processes on this aspect, how this framework creation and iterated policies and defining how is it going to contribute to the experiences we already have, and some of these scenarios which we have never experienced, and it is going to get.
Yeah. Thanks, Srijit. So, see, in the last 18 months, we have a lot of learning in terms of the data center operations, the challenges, and we really means when Sanjay was talking about the OEM support, what has been provided, I could able to visualize many such things where the video conferencing has resolved my problem, where the material delivery and the service engineers in the emergency has visited the sites. So see, there are many and much more learnings we have seen in this last 18 months, right from to maintain the uptime and availability of the data center. And I think that kind of a connect between the vendors. So vendors and the data center operations, the kind of partnership which we have seen in the last 18 months, that was fantastic. Okay, and that should continue. So that is the first part, I will say, that when we talk about the BCP to continue, I think a vendor is becoming the most important contributor for every data center operation players to maintain its availability and uptime. The second important aspect is the people management. Many speakers has touched upon the kind of process and the arrangements which has been made right from the hotel stay to the travel arrangements, food arrangements. Few of the data center players has also done the RT-PCR test, quarantine facility, many things. Everybody has done a lot to achieve the right kind of a manpower on the site. What has been the learning come out of the people management is the skill set mapping and giving them the right level of training to work during the disaster management and to achieve the right BCP. Okay, that is the business continuity. So hiring the people is not only the solution. The solution is you need to have a right skill of person. He should be empowered to take the decision during the critical situation. He should understand the abnormality and he should able to resolve this abnormality on site. That is on the people management. The third I want to touch upon, which is very important, is the process management. Earlier, ISO 22301 is the certification on the paper, and we are creating the process just as a part of the document. But implementation of that process effectively, that's something which we have learned in that 18 to 20 months. Okay, and there are a lot of revisions has happened. And those revisions and upcoming also, because every day is becoming a learning for us and every day is bringing some modifications into the process. I think that effective implementation of process is, I will say, the backbone of the success of the data center industry during this pandemic. What is important here is, as I touched in the first question, that a lot of international customers are housed across all the data centers and they are watching us very carefully. Data centers is becoming a major contributor in India's growth history, and the growth which is going on currently in the digitalization, data centers is making a lot of contribution into it, and we all are proud to say that we are the Indians who are definitely contributing a lot. Now, when these thoughts are coming, we also expect that government should also recognize the data center industry as a super critical facility, and they should provide us the kind of uninterrupted power supply, or you should have the water availability, you should have the access availability, you should have the ease of transport, all those requirements which are predominantly required for every data center operation player to run his data center safely, as well as to give the right availability. I think that CII should help taking the inputs from all the data centers players, taking it to the government and asking them to create some kind of a green channel for the data center operations, so that in the pandemic, they should not have to run from pillar to post and achieve what they required and all the supports what they should require during this time. That is what my thought process, Shriji.
Yeah, thanks, Girish. Again, I would, let's say, connect the single window approval for data centers. So I think you rightly touched upon the concept of green channel, which is highly necessary to keep the lights up and running. So I'm sure CI is noting this point, and definitely we can put across to the right forums so that this can be enabled. So let me ask the same perspective to Rangnath. So are you going to adopt this BCMS framework, or kind of adopting the certification, things like that? What is your thought process on future aligning to this BCPs?
Yeah, we are already having CSTOS certificate for cloud operations, and we are having almost all ISO certificates with us. And of course, it has become a time for us to test and whether we are following it or not. That is a great learning what we understood from last 18 months. Yeah. So coming to this BCP on personal prospects, means the individual person's prospects. See, when people stayed in data center, we made them to understand the cross functions. So either it may be network, or it may be IT, or it may be MEP. So everyone has involved in every kind of work. One session we used to conduct a lot of training sessions between themselves. So it has become a training center as well as so that the stay in data center was not a painful for them. So this is what the biggest achievement what we got done in pandemic situation.
All right, thanks, Ranganath. So I think we have a few minutes left. Let me request Rajiv to note some of the questions. If any questions from the panel, from the audience to the panel, please keep us informed so that we can address or we can assign these questions to the respective panelists. So coming back to the Sanjay, so we have spoken enough. So there is a point which everybody emphasized is that vendor and service provider or vendor customer relationship is going to be vital. It is going to be key in any scenario when it comes to the BCP scenarios, right? So scenarios are going to come in. So again, I have come across this news that the cyclones are going to be a common phenomenon going to be because of the the temperature rising in the sea, things like that. Now, as we speak, the cyclone is going on in the US, right? So I think the wind speed is about 240 kilometers per hour. It's a horrible time in that area. So now coming to this vendor system here, when you talk about the vendor ecosystem, here the actual physical infrastructure, it requires attention. It requires a lot of spares. So let me ask this question to Sanjay. How are you strategizing this customer support during BCP? Do you have any plan, or do you adopting any kind of framework? How do you strategize your spare management in a better way? Because currently you may be having the warehouses maybe in metro cities or some other places. But again, if you take an example in Mumbai itself, such a big city, so data centers are spread from Navi Mumbai to let's say LVSBs to BKCs, right? So the typical warehouses may be in Navi Mumbai or in Bhiwandi kind of scenarios. So in a scenario like a cyclone or this kind of scenarios, travel restrictions, it is going to be difficult to align this spares. So is there any thought process internally in your organization or in the industry level you're trying to adopt to extend the best support or better support to customers like us?
Yeah. Coming back to a question is that first you talk about climatic changes. I am saying that it has become very important to take care of a bad day. Whomever I spoke in data center, na, summer is a very bad time for us. And that one day bad na make our life miserable. If chiller trips, hard trips, and then all running starts, that's why I'm saying chiller tripping, condenser trippings are the most dangerous part. Power
Yeah, I agree,
if
Sanjay. Sorry to interrupt you. I must share my experience of this chiller tripping just on last week Friday. So we were doing a critical maintenance, and suddenly the chiller tripped. And a spare, it's a crazy spare. I don't want to mention that spare. It's a crazy spare, I would say. It took about 8 hours to arrange that particular spare and restore the chiller, and the whole activity got delayed for another 24 hours. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, and please.
yeah. My says that yes, global climatic changes. Now the time has come for a, I'm not saying the time has come from a data center facilities management to play a major role and tell design people, gentlemen, global climatic change is happening. We used to still in our data sheet, our temperature of Mumbai is 35 degrees Celsius. We have reached 38. We should plan for 40. So global, whatever global climatic change, 2 degrees Celsius, please design your system. You may have capex more, but please design your system for 40 degrees Celsius. Don't say I have designed for 35, I have designed for 38. No, plus 2 degrees Celsius, considering 10-15 years life cycle, which Mr. Girish was again and again saying, you have to consider what global climatic change is going to happen after 10-12 years. Please design. It'll reduce your it will increase your capex, but your opex will reduce. So first and foremost, take care of power. And power, I'm saying surge suppressors, whatever protection, because chiller is the one we don't give UPS power. Okay, so that part has to be taken care during design, and that has to be emphasized by all operators to their project team, or there was an infrastructure team prior to our session. But I feel infrastructure teams more look as a holistic approach of big way. But for them, that chiller becomes very important for us during the night time. That PAU becomes as very important. That condenser tripping becomes as very important. So my foremost change first we bought after pandemic, gentlemen, let's have a buffer and design power system and design your condenser system for the chillers, have adiabatic cooling system, but which is more for it is so while design we have to take care of design is very important. And another important thing is that in data center, which Kundan said, you have to have one cooling expert and one power expert. Is your strength. You may have multiple manufacturers. Every
Right,
manufacturer
Sanjay,
is
I
going on
think
different idea.
we are running short of time. So just come to the core topic. So what is your
Core is
strategy in
space management.
spare management?
Yes,
Are you
it
going
is a
to increase
very
the
important.
warehouses, or are you having a strategy of keeping the spares in the key
Yes,
players
yes.
like us? So that is the core question.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah. So Mumbai, you have to divide every region into different parts. Navi Mumbai is going to become hub for hyperscale, Mumbai for enterprise solutions, and so that's the way you have to bifurcate your warehouses and stocking spare at site.
So
These are the three
is that the way
important
you are
things.
going to do that, Sanjay? Is that the way you are going to do that?
Yes, yes. Mime is our
Okay.
central place, which is has got spares. Navi Mumbai is our factory. So we are very close to all major data centers. So that's advantage for me as compared to others.
Thanks,
So with
Sanjay.
this, I
So
submit my.
great. I look forward for that because my business have a lot of different view
I don't
on
know. My
you.
factory is in a hub of all data center locations. I am
Yeah,
surrounded by all four sides with all data center people.
yeah, right.
Vijit,
So there are a
Vijit,
couple of interesting questions coming from the audience.
Vijit, adding
So
to here
one of the
to
questions.
Sanjay's points, only 1 minute I will take.
Yeah, sorry.
So
Yeah, go
Sanjay
ahead.
rightly said we have to consider the future temperature. But what right now the design is being done is the past temperature history. So we have to predict some future temperature history, how it can be done. And similarly, the well-protected electrical system definitely to be designed before implementing the data center and well-tested before handing over for operations.
Yeah, that's right, Raghunath. The point we are talking about BCP. So let's say we have the past experience and we are designing the future with the past experience, which is not going to be the case in the future. That is a big challenge we have. So let's say the temperature rise in the sea with the kind of 1 degree, 2 degree reaching 828 degree. It is going to be a phenomena. So what kind of cyclones, how many cyclones in a year, we don't know.
We don't know,
So
right?
how do you predict it? And again, let me tell you an example of, we design chillers at the ambient temperature of, let's say, 40, 45. So earlier in Delhi or Mumbai we used to design with the ambient conditions of 40 degrees, 42 degrees. Today, we cannot. It collapses. So we are considering 50 degrees or at least 48 degrees. So
Right.
is it enough? I don't know. Again,
No.
how do you predict? It's very difficult. That's the question. Yeah. So couple of interesting questions from the audience. I'm not sure we can take it up. I'll read the question. With changing dynamics and ever-evolving vulnerabilities, is seamless continuity is a reality or a myth? I'm not sure. Kundan, will you be able to take this question? Or who can take this question? So I'll read it again. With changing dynamics and ever-evolving vulnerabilities, seamless continuity is a reality or a myth?
I will just add here, then definitely other panelists can, but yes, it is in reality. Okay, the dynamics are changing, but when the dynamics are changing, we are also gearing up. Okay, and that is where we have to be looking ahead of the problem. Okay, so we talked about many dynamic change, right, from your global warming regarding all the cyclones. Okay, but if you uh, have a predictive analysis of that, and if you take the steps before you hit to the incident, I think you can definitely make the dynamics changing will not become an incident and will not be a challenge for you, but you can sell through easily and you can have the real 100% uptime of the data center. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. I do agree, Girish. It is not going to be myth at all. It is reality. So the next question from audience is that, are tier 2 and tier 3 Indian cities is developed states like Maharashtra better proposition for data center industry? This is the question. So anybody want to take it?
So I think yeah, any tier, not only Maharashtra, but across India, tier 2 or tier 3 cities needs to be focused upon. I'm talking about in perspective of the edge data centers, because if you see this surge in the relatively new technologies like AI, ML, maybe we all know about the how content is playing its play, and sitting out at homes, people are using in the lockdown scenario, people are also using it for entertainment purposes. So with the newer technologies and things, obviously, and the 5G will have added new and the innovative service dimensions and enable the services like IoT, AR, VR, which will further help to raise the use case across the industries. And obviously, if the edge data centers, if at all they are there in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, it will push the interconnection scenario from currently one to one to many, and it will go to many. And obviously, this would need to go near to the resources and the eyeballs or the users. So I would say yes, tier 2, tier 3 cities needs to be focused while taking this interconnection towards the near to the users.
And
Yeah, I think I
Shriji,
agree with you because the future is not going to be a metro-centric approach. So it's not going to be, because
absolutely.
earlier, if you take the scenario of data center setup, the top line players are coming and putting data centers in the metro cities, especially in Mumbai and Chennai, considering the cable landing station and things like that. So today the scenario changed, and the global traffic is not going to be the scenario at all. So the 1.4 billion population is going to add the business to the world, and people understood that. And yes, tier 2 and tier 3 is maybe tier 4 facility. That is where we're talking about edge, which is going to play a vital role. I think I have a couple of questions. So I think Rajiv, so since the last session, we have a liberty of taking at least 2 to 3 minutes more. So another interesting question. WhatsApp message.
I think we're past the time.
All right. So I think one
More than
last,
2-3 minutes now.
yeah, one last question. We can take it. How are we going to bridge the resources shortfall as DC are becoming core for next generations? So I think it's a relevant question. Who would like to take it? Girish, you would like to take it?
Sir, here what we can, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Ranga, go ahead.
The thing is, we have to do the interdepartmental trainings. So we have to treat entire team as one. So there is no question of I am mechanical, I am electrical, I am data. No, everyone should think as one organization, one team, and one. So this is the only option available right now. So that everyone will be equally taking responsibilities and equally share their experiences and give the services. This is my opinion, and we are being following this one from the day one we started the data center team.
Yeah.
Okay, Girish,
I will only supplement what Ranganathan had said. And in the last question, I just touched base on the skill set mapping and the training. Okay, that is going to play a very important role going forward. As we are looking for as a team management, that means we are not looking for, okay, you will have the subject matter expertise. But when we talk about the core function of the data center, I will see that multi-skill will help us a lot. And the multi-skill you can only develop by doing the skill set mapping, giving them the right kind of a training assessment, and giving the exposure for every individual to work through the different field of the data center, so that he will become a right asset for the data center to achieve what is demanded from the market.
Absolutely right. I think multi-skilled people in operations is very, very vital. I think we are overshot the time. I must comment and appreciate the effort taken by all the panelists. It was a wonderful discussion, and it was vibrant, I must say. I think you all agree with me. And thanks for the active participation. Over to you, Rajiv. If you have more time, we can take a couple of more questions.
Thank you, Sriji. It was good moderation. It was a good energy shown by each one of us. Thank you very much. It was a very good session. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
very much.
Srijit, and
And
thank you
thanks
so much,
all
eminent
the participants,
panelists.
it is appreciated you being late evening, contributing your time. So thanks everybody for attending this session.
Yeah, thank you, Srijit.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Special thanks to CII for giving an opportunity to speak. Thank you very
And
much.
at the same time, Rajiv, I'm sure you have noted the demand from us for the CI and to the industry, right?
Sure. I think the one name which was synonym with all the panels was CI taking role, and we are being taking the actions in place. Thank you so
All
much.
right.